for esports, comics, gaming, and art, you've come to the right place. Direct from Los Angeles, it's the Okie Doke Show. And here are your hosts, Steezo and Go.
Yes, it's the Okie Doke Show. And I want to wish you all a big Hadouken. We're all doing a special right here from Southern California. This is Steezo, and I'm joined by, of course, my co-host, GC. Big Go is unavailable tonight, but don't worry, we got you covered. We got an extra special guest who just won the Body Count Fighting 2 Street Fighter tournament, Mr. LPN.
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing yourself?
We're doing all right, man. Actually, it's a sunny day, man. It's nice down here. You know, me and GC, we were just talking about some Tekken and some Street Fighter, and it just worked out actually perfect, man, because, you know, we realized that you just won a Street Fighter tournament just recently, and we wanted to go ahead and reach out to you. And first thing we'll want to talk about, man, is actually where you're from. If you want to tell, I know we mentioned the Bay Area, but if you want to tell everybody out there kind of like where you're from and, you know, how long you've been playing games.
Well, I'm from Northern California. I reside in the East Bay. I live actually in this small town called Alameda, small little island. Pretty sure most people don't know. I've been playing Street Fighter since, I would say, since I've been 7 years old. So it's been a good 20 years at least.
So you actually played the first Street Fighter 2?
Yeah, I played Street Fighter 2, but I never played the original one. I think it's called Fighter Street or Street Fighter. Well, one of those, but yeah, Street Fighter 2 was actually the one of the first few games I actually ever played, ever.
So this is the same question I asked James Chen, man. Were you one of those guys at the arcade that were like handcuffing with Guile and using the glitches of like Dalzim disappearing and stuff like that?
Funny thing, you talk about handcuff. I actually never knew about that technique until maybe like 7, 8 years ago. I have an older brother who actually knew how to use that technique, and I never knew how it worked. And he just told me recently, so it's actually kind of funny.
Man, trust me, man. They used to catch me all the time. I was a Blanca player, man, so every time I played against Guile, for some reason, they'd always catch me, man.
You're one of them wild animals.
Yeah, man. It was just, I don't know, something about him that appealed to me, you know? Right now, your main character is M. Bison.
Yes, that's correct.
Is there any particular reason why you chose M. Bison? Or?
For me, I would say M. Bison holds a dear spot in my heart. I was first actually introduced to that character when I first played Street Fighter 2, you know, many decades ago. So when I actually played Street Fighter 2 on the console for the very first time, I had a neighbor who actually mained M. Bison, right? Like, he enjoyed it very much. He's a good friend of my dad. So he was playing Bison, and he was just like trying to push me left and right all day long, and I was like, what the hell's happening? You know, like, how am I supposed to stop this? All that stuff, and he's just like laughing at me, right? So then I go and tell my brother what happened. He actually taught me a very unique technique how to stop it, and I kind of carried that with me all the way to this very day. And he taught me how to do a cross-up, which I've never heard of, and going in depth about the cross-up, such a simple technique. At the same time, it's really good against charge characters. And because if I cross up, I can break his charge, so you can't do cycle crushers anymore. So I use that, I abused it, I won, and I never played that guy again, right? But I think because of, you know, the major ass whooping he gave me, I think Bison kind of, like, I would say, scarred me in a way. Not in a bad way, though. Like, in a good way. He's, like, ingrained in my head.
You mean like he left an impression?
Yeah, he left an impression in general, yeah. Good or bad, it was there no matter what, right? I'm like, damn, this guy is badass and everything. You know, like, it's kind of a big part of my childhood.
Are you a fan of where the game is going? You know how, like, they always keep adding characters, taking characters out, and, you know, changing stuff up. Are you a fan of that? Or, because, like, the only reason why I'm asking this question is because I played recently the Street Fighter 2 on Switch, Nintendo Switch, and I love what they did with the game. I mean, it's the same exact game with just a little bit of mods. And I mean, I loved it, man. It made me go back to the days when I used to put the quarters in the machine. You know, what do you think about all of the, you know, the updates and where it's at now?
I'm definitely a big fan of changing as long as the core fundamentals of the game persist and they don't alter it. If they do make any adjustments, I would prefer it to be very small changes and not something that's like game changing, right? But at the end of the day, the game is still about, you know, the neutral setups, how you execute your special moves in certain areas. As long as that all stays, I think it's fine. And like, adding new characters, that's awesome. You know, I love new things. You know, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people like new things too, as long as they don't like take away the classics. Like, you can't be removing like Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and Guile What kind of Street Fighter game is that?
And
because
Blanca.
They actually only kept. Yeah, the Court of Blanca. You know, we can't forget about the classic Green Man.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, like as long as they homage to the game, keep the classics in there. I'm all for it. Like they can make a brand new like Street Fighter 6 right now, and they keep in Ryu, Ken, add Blanca, and the core fundamental of the game is still there. I'll be definitely done playing. They can add in all the new characters from whatever, but as long as there's a character that's relatable to me, that can bring me back to my childhood, I'm up for it.
So you're not afraid of changing anything. So how did you feel with like the whole Tekken Street Fighter crossover type of deal? Like, the gameplay, I know they sort of kept it more towards like the Street Fighter type, but like when they threw in the Tekken characters, the mechanics were slightly different. Like the fundamentals were the same, but like how did you feel about that?
When I first heard about that crossover for Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I was actually like exhilarated. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I never like imagined this would be happening, right? So I had like really high expectations for it. And to be honest, yeah, they definitely delivered for me when it first came out. I was like, wow, this is like my favorite Tekken characters fighting against my favorite Street Fighter characters on the same platform. And they did a really good job, but I think how Capcom did it along with Tekken is they broke down like the most commonly used strings, and they turned it into like special moves, right? Like if you do like Corsico, it would do like his hit string, which is like one of the common strings you see in like Tekken. So I was like, oh, that's a clever way to do it, It's kind of like downsizing and saving up a lot of time there, but still adding the moves in there. But at the end of the day, I did feel like the Tekken characters were a bit too strong compared to Street Fighter characters, because then they were definitely more versatile, and they had the advantage because naturally they're able to juggle already in their respective games, right? But in Street Fighter, like you don't get that juggle that commonly, in like older Street Fighter games, you get like one hit, two hits, right? But Tekken characters juggle all the way to the corner, and Tekken is known for putting people against the wall and everything, right? And this game put in the corner is really bad because you're pretty much just trapped. And Street Fighter characters, their special moves are pretty limited. While Tekken characters, they have like more openings from like overheads or low into tag overheads, stuff like that. So I think the Street Fighter characters were a little bit linear compared to the Tekken characters in Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Now that Tekken 7 came out, they introduced Akuma into the actual storyline. How did you feel about that?
Ooh, that was crazy. I was like, so Street Fighter Cross Tekken did really happen. It's like canon now.
Exactly.
Because Akuma actually hopped over to the Tekken universe, and there's like a whole storyline behind it. I'm like, oh, everything makes sense now. Now we can all get along, right? It made perfect sense what it did. Like, his movesets and everything. And it's a blast playing. He's like a super fun character. And if they continue to use him as the model for the upcoming Tekken Cross Street Fighter game, I don't think it's going to be that difficult, because this is like living proof, right? Like there's a Street Fighter character in the Tekken platform. You can sidestep, you can do fireballs, you can see how it works. It's not like overpowering. There's definitely flaws for it. There's actually some really good pros with it too, because of SADC, right?
Yeah,
I think you're going to have a lot to mess with, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So I think it'd be easier to put Street Fighter characters on the Tekken platform because, like, your characters like Devil Jin, Angel, Devil, they shoot projectiles, already.
Mm-hmm.
So the transition over shouldn't be too difficult. Now you could just give them, over 100 moveset, for the Street Fighter player or the character and make it balanced out in Tekken.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, what they learned in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, like the movesets, they could definitely transfer it over to Tekken Cross Street Fighter. And I don't mean like it's going to look super fluid or whatnot, but it's actually going to be able to turn out pretty well, I think. I have really high hopes for it. I don't want to keep my expectations too high. I know a lot of people are going to complain, and I'm going to probably be like the small minority that's actually going to enjoy the game really well. I'm probably going to be maining the Street Fighter characters when they come out in Tekken Cross Street Fighter. But, I mean, who knows, right? Like, I think the game's going to turn out really well. And they can take as long as they want, to be honest, at this point.
So is this something that you do full-time?
Oh, no. This is, a secondary job. I have a normal daytime job, too. So I try to balance it as much as I can.
Yeah, how many hours a day would you spend playing then?
I wouldn't say that I play daily as I used to. It's Probably back when I had more time in my hands, I would probably average around like 5 to 7 hours a day, 7 days a week. But nowadays, because, I have more responsibilities, my job and everything was occupied a lot of my time. I would say on average per week, I would probably net in about 12 hours dispersed throughout the week.
Well, LPN, you were talking about managing your time. Walk us through that. So, you strategically, that maybe 10-hour gameplay that you use, do you pick a specific character and then, you start doing specific moves or like a specific combo that you just keep mastering over and over again? Or do you put the computer on some sort of automatic move set in which you're countering?
A little bit this and there, I would say. It's for Street Fighter 5. I think because of the skill barrier or the ceiling is not as high as it was in Street Fighter 4, where it's really heavy on neutral execution and a lot of studying. I think in Street Fighter 5 is really based around decision making, and it's best to practice scenarios, right? But then the game is very volatile. You get knocked down and you're in one of the worst situations in the game, which is in the corner, no meter, opponent has V trigger, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So what I actually like to practice is just scenario training. If I get knocked down in this high pressure situation, what are my options? What are the common things that people go to? How do I mitigate? How do I reduce damage on myself if I know I'm going to take damage no matter what? So I need to get out alive, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that, my offense is really natural. I don't really need to practice that. What my practice for offense actually happens in tournament. The day of I go in and my mind and my fingers they just go on the flow with it, right? And it works because that's how fluid my offense is. But defense is the most important thing in the game because everybody shares the same defensive deficiency when they get knocked down. Because everybody's in the world of hurt, but decision making is the most important thing there. So that's the best defense is trying to mitigate rather than trying to guess. Which there's been a common misconception when people get knocked down in this game. They think everything is a guess, but I do not think that's necessarily true.
So currently you're on Team Circa.
Yes.
Why did you join Team Circa out of all the teams out there? How did that come about?
I was in talks with them, and they were talking about entering into the fighting game field, right? This during a time where esports was happening. I would actually say it's more of gold rush. So there's a lot of esports teams just hopping in, trying to get their fingers into the community and all that stuff. And Circa came out and reached out to me several times, and we were talking. And at the time, I wanted to travel more and, try to get to these tournaments so I get pushed for Capcom Pro Tour. And out of all the teams that reached out to me, they make the most sense. We had common goals. We knew what we needed to do to push one another, and the team really had a vision. I actually believed in that, and it worked out really well. I was able to travel countless events that I've never imagined before, and got tons of exposure for both myself and the team. And in all, I got the experience I needed, the points and all that stuff, and I think it really helped with my personal growth. But as far as other teams right now, some of them are pretty new, some of them are pretty established, but they're not getting the results they want for their teams. I think it's kind of scattered too. But circle-wise, I think our focus on the main games is actually really strong. I know you guys interviewed Nikki before. He's a really strong KI for everything. He just won the recent Injustice 2 tournament at DreamHack Atlanta, and myself, I'm a Street Fighter player, so we're all focused on the primary games, right? So I think we have a pretty concentrated team right now.
How long you been with them?
I would say a little over a year now.
And then so now I noticed you have something else going on, the Pandora House. What is the is that a separate team on the side, or how does that work out?
Pandora House, I'm actually one of the co-owners of that team. It's not like an official esports team or anything like that. It was actually created back in the Street Fighter 4 era, where there's a compilation of talented players that were built from Northern California, and including myself, Hudaman, James. We also have Crackstein as well, and of course we have Tizzle 707 who made top 8 at one of the Eagles for Street Fighter Top Second. So just we started out as just normal competitors. We traveled the circuits and everything, and we got to know each other better. And slowly but surely, we started practicing together, and then we formed a team. Like, we see each other all the time. We're really good. We want to get better. We want to make a point in the NorCal community and, of course, the Street Fighter community in general. So then we teamed up, and, this is more of a team than anything else. The moment I moved over to Circa, I spent less time with the Pandora House, stuff like that. And we ran a couple of, tournaments in the past and stuff like that. But mainly everybody's just focused on their own personal growth right now. And I think eventually we're all going to be on esports teams.
So like this culture, like this esports thing, that it's sort of developed from aside from the competitiveness, like you feel like there's more now a family type of deal that you guys are creating here.
But with the idea of esports, I know a lot of people were really hesitant before because they feel like it's going to rip away what fighting games or FGC is really about. This is about being very communal, very family orientated, and very raw, right? But I think that will always be there because it comes down to the people who started from the community, who will always be from the community. But even if you have grassroots companies that turn esports, it's still gonna be the same people, at the end of the day, right? Esports is just top layer, but deep down we're all still FGC, man, and we love the game. That's why we play it. Not necessarily about the money. The money, for me, is just a bonus, And obviously, it's a miracle, too, that just the players can just play video games that they love when they were younger, and they can make a living off of it. Those are the selected few. And, I mean, that's something that's really inspiring for people to see and witness, because it's living proof. I think back then, people were saying, playing video games, it's a waste of time. Only clowns do it. People waste their time. Go to school, become a doctor, yada, yada. And people who truly believe, playing video games is what their life is about. They're making it happen now because they're making money playing the games that they love when they were younger, right?
So your thoughts on Overwatch and the new standards that they set. How now if you get picked up by Overwatch, guaranteed $50,000 in salary plus a 401k plan and medical and dental. Plus I guess share of the winnings per event that you play. I mean, there's a big potential you could reach six figures that year if you keep on winning, right? I mean, this thing has grown so big where it's now people are using these as careers, man. I mean, what do you see that happening in the fight community as well, or I mean, and just your thoughts on the whole thing in general?
Definitely. Congratulations to Overwatch and esports community taking care of them. I knew it was going to happen. Overwatch is so big, and for the FGC to be on that level is actually very possible. It's moving a lot faster than I had originally anticipated, but it's going to take some time. A good example of how fighting games just went esports really quick. I call it overnight. And it's what happened with Smash, which was really surprising. It just came out of nowhere. I literally read about Smash Brothers one night, and the next night they're all esports, and it's huge funds for these tournaments. And I'm like, wow, that's really awesome, right? And people are still thinking Smash Brothers is like a party game, a fighting game. I mean, people are just wailing on each other and they're brawling. I consider it a fighting game. It's 1v1, 1v2, it's still fighting. So for the FCC to follow suit and get to where Overwatch is, I think they need to go through a phase which Smash Brothers did somehow, and then get to Overwatch.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I actually thought that maybe StarCraft, since it's been around so long and really huge over in Asia, or even LOL or Dota 2, that they would kind of maybe be the leaders only because of their popularity and globally. But it was very it was actually out of left field, man, that Overwatch just came and now they're setting the standard, man. I mean, it's crazy. Actually, now that we're talking about Overwatch a little bit, have you ever played that game, Gigantic?
No, I've heard about it, though. I heard it's actually really good. Is this true?
Yeah, it's actually it's a good game. Actually, that game was in development 4 years ago. And I guess there was a hiccup with Microsoft at the time, and then the company actually went under, and then another company stepped in and bought them because they liked the idea so much. And it was actually supposed to come out before Overwatch, but they of course without that hiccup. But it's a fun game overall, man. I mean, right now you can play it. Anybody can download it on their PCs and Xbox right now. and play it. But other than that, I mean, I see big things for it. So I don't know if you ever get a chance, download, check it out. It's pretty fun. I'm not sure if you play Overwatch or if you're into like first person shooters as well, but
I used to play Overwatch. I was pretty avid player of that when it first came out, and then I just had less time, man. But I was rocking, the Roadhog. I was playing a little bit of Winston, and I think I ended up Tracer for a little bit. It was really fun.
Yeah, fun games, man. But I totally get it, man. I mean, you don't want to play too many games because then you don't want to, you want to stay fluid at the game that you compete in. So I mean, I totally get it, man. And I wish that I could have stuck with it, but at that time, when I was playing, like I said, I was putting quarters on machines, man. So, it's a little bit late for me, man. But I can live vicariously through you, through other players like yourself that are still going and killing it, man. So you know what I mean? Other than that, man, I mean, like future plans, for future plans right now. I mean, you got some tournaments coming up, and what's in it for you? I mean, we just got done interviewing James Chen. He's been in the Street Fighter scene for a long time, right? Now he's a commentator, doing all kinds of other things. Where do you see yourself, 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I will probably have won Evo at least twice. Probably have my own
I like that
team by then. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, probably my YouTube channel will be very successful by then too. I've been trying to put in work for that recently.
Right.
But no, I mean, like, definitely gonna be traveling the world more, and for my YouTube channel, I'm actually gonna focus on just like traveling to events, exploring, the wonderful dishes, whichever state or country they offer, kind of mix up between like video games, food, and living life, right? And within the next 10 years, I think I'll have a pretty established YouTube channel by then, along with my 2 Evo winning titles. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy right now, but definitely there's nothing wrong with trying to get more, right?
Right.
Happiness, the happy juice.
That's right. Well, I'm curious, why 2 Evo titles? Why not 3?
Well, I mean, I don't know anyone who's had 3 Evo titles in the same game, and especially back to back too. That's like really difficult, right? So I'm trying to be kind of realistic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to jinx myself. I don't want to overshoot it and feel miserable when 10 years is up, right?
Right.
I'm trying to play it safe and say 2 titles. Very possible. If I get more, then awesome. This is a bonus, unexpected, right?
Right. Setting records.
But yeah, I mean, like, for me, just winning 1, I'll be really happy. Winning 2, I think it'd be a pretty good confirmation. All these years I put in, definitely worth the time, invested, right? And video games, it's taking me places, outside of just entering tournaments, in my real work life and everything.
Where can everybody follow you? All of that good stuff.
Definitely follow me on Twitter right now. My Twitter handle is LPN510. Besides that, I do like to stream occasionally. You can check me out on twitch.tv/LPN Gaming. I'll be playing various different games besides fighting games. I know you guys love fighting games, but I like other games too, so feel free to check it out there. And yeah, I mean, those are probably my primary social accounts that you can follow. I'm pretty active on those, so yeah.
Well, I guess we appreciate you coming on the show, man. I mean, I know it's tough sometimes, man. Everybody's got stuff going on. But anytime somebody can take at least 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so to sit down and talk to us, man, we're greatly appreciative, man.
No, it was a pleasure, man. Thank you guys for reaching out.
Yeah, definitely, and we hope that this is not the last one. So after you win that first Evo, we're definitely going to talk to you, and when they hit that second Evo, I'm going to ask you about the third one in that interview. So we'll
exactly,
right?
Okay,
exactly.
We got this plan going. Okay.
Yep. So on behalf of the Okie Doke Show, man, I want to thank everybody for listening. You can go ahead and find us, Google the Okie Doke Show, and all the social media platforms should pop up. If they don't, we have a problem. But just go ahead and hit that. Check us out. We got lots of good stuff coming up. Again, check out LPN. A lot of good stuff, man. I'm sure you can learn some things. I'm sure I can learn some things. And this is the Okie Doke Show. We'll keep covering and keep moving it forward, all right? Talk to you guys soon.